Well, ring that bell. Tweety Brown, whatever the heck Tweety Brown is, ring there, ding, 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 there he is. Markets closed, broad and wall. Quite a positive day, folks. Take a look at these numbers. I'm seeing the Dow Jones up 500. I'm seeing 517. It'll adjust again as the market closes. 517 points. Do you think the strike in Iran is working for the people who are the money people in the world? Look at that NASDAQ. 19,913, up 282. By the way, the all-time high for NASDAQ, 20,200, 300 points, maybe less than 1%, about 1.5% away from the all-time high. Dow all-time high is 45,000 ballpark. And some of the best news of the day, folks. We talk about gold. We talk about the VIX going down. Good news. The best news of the day, about $65 a barrel for oil. Remember, late night on Sunday, oil trades round the clock, and I'm watching the oil trade in Europe. I'm watching it trade in Asia. Oil was trading around, U.S. benchmark oil was trading around $77 a barrel. So we're about $12, $13 below where it could have been if things got really, really messy in the Middle East. And I'll just jump over crypto. Bitcoin, we talk about it every day. 105,555 ballparks. Very, very strong, very positive thing. Positive things happening on Wall Street now because the economy likes the idea that we may have just removed an existential threat, at least for Israel and maybe the rest of the world, by eliminating Iran's ability to create a bomb. This is great news. Trump, surgical strike. He didn't want it to continue with what he said. He dropped the F-bomb this morning. We're going to talk about it all day, about what's going on in Trump's mind. He told Israel and Iran, cut it out. Stop it. Like they're children. Like, stop it. And they stopped. Like literally, ceasefire. All right, let's bring in our first guest, political analyst and former journalist at the Middle East Broadcasting Network, which is part of the State Department. He's a big Trump supporter, I am told, and he's here to give us insight on the Iran-Israel ceasefire and will it last? Happy to speak with Ihab Abbas. Mr. Abbas, good to have you on, my friend. I guess the question, when you saw Trump this morning about to head to NATO, on the South Lawn, waiting for to board Marine One, and he told the reporter, and he wasn't speaking to the reporter. He says, because they're effing around, and he says they have to stop. Do you understand me? And those words after the F-bomb were so important. Do you understand me? He wasn't talking to the reporter. He was talking to Israel and Iran. You think they heard it?
Yes. Hi, Eric. How are you doing today? And honestly, hi for your viewers also. Thanks for having me. Yes, I think they have clearly got the message and they will act accordingly. President Trump, I think from my point of view, he did everything in this 12 days war. He was balancing everything equally and fantastically. Took it from a huge war and potentially would be the third world war to vanish the war at the end until now in a very proper way that takes both parties, the Israelis and Iranians, to finish the military operations that could lead to a third world war. I believe that it could be continue after that as an espionage war, especially from the Mossad, to make sure that they already got everything to the ground with the Iranian nuclear program. But the big chunk of this war that made us all scared about the future of the humanity and the Middle East and everything is gone for now. And this is because of Donald Trump, nobody else.
So Mr. Abbas, tell us why you think yesterday, Sergei Medvedev, who is the former president of Russia, said, well, the way this went down, I wouldn't put it past Russia to supply nuclear weapons to Iran. Now, what was that all about? Any clue on what that was? I mean, he wasn't speaking for Vladimir Putin, but still, why would he do that?
I think it could be maybe a camouflage. It could be like a show that has no evidence on the ground. I believe Russians will not go this route. It's hard to believe that they can go this route because Iranians could have this bombs or military, whatever nuclear weapon that they could have from Russia, to be transferred to the Iranian arms in the Middle East, like Houthis in Yemen, like Hezbollah in Lebanon, like Hashd Shabi in Iraq, which would be a disaster for the whole world. And I think this is the main point of why Iranians was prohibited from having any kind of nuclear programs. The issue is that they have a lot of military militia around the world, around the Middle East, that they are related to, and they could, in one day or another, having their hands on this kind of nuclear destruction weapons, and they might bomb the world. So we not trust these approaches. So this is why we have to cut it while it's still a baby. So I believe Russians, especially I think Mr. Medvedev, he's trying to say that, hey guys, I'm here and I want to say something. That's it, all about it. Putin even will not go this route. Even he didn't give Iranians any kind of guns, bullets, or ammunition for the war. So how could they give them a nuclear weapon?
And what about China?
I don't believe
Is there a risk that China supports rebuilding the Iranian nuclear? China has weaponry. What about them?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Will China assist rebuilding the Iranian desire or dream of owning a nuclear weapon?
I don't believe even China will go this route. China right now, they are playing the low profile country, and they trying to build themselves from inside outside. So they won't put themselves right now in the front of the US train, in front of the world train. They will be smashed. So, but they have to say something with what happened and what was going on. So they said it already. But any kind of moves, it will be under the telescope, the microscope. We're gonna discover what they are aiming for, and we're gonna kill it while it's also in the beginning.
These Iranians,
I don't think so that they can go
these
this
Iranians, well, I'll just say they're liars. They lie to the world. They lie every time they sit down and negotiate. They lied to George Bush. They lied to Barack Obama. And if you let them lie to you, they will do it. And all these folks sit down and think they have a nuclear non-proliferation treaty with them, and they continue to get closer and closer to a bomb. Ceasefire right now. They say we're done right now. Do we run the risk of these terror cells popping up? We let some thousands upon thousands of illegal Iranians into this country through our southern border over the last 4 years. Do we run the risk of terror, domestic terror from exactly this route?
It could be. I hope won't be the case. But one of the statements that I heard from some of the Iranian officials, that they can call their sleeping cells inside the United States to start to make moves. What kind of moves? I don't know. But this is something I think our FBI and even CIA and all the internal investigations and military personnel and police, and
you know what else?
Have all integrated.
Every American needs to be vigilant. Every American has to say, if I see something, I got to call. That's something that they can do. Kash Patel could put some sort of hotline number out for the FBI to contact the FBI. You see something that doesn't look right, doesn't pass the smell test, just make the call, and we can staff that. And I think this is the time to be doing something like that.
I totally agree.
Ihab Abbas, I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We head to the break. Just want to remind you about my podcast, YouTube page, both updated daily. You can see everything, the whole show. Hear tons of other unique content that we don't put on the show. Sometimes we have to use some bad language, but just subscribe. It's always going to be free. Hit one of those buttons and subscribe, and you'll always see it. And this, folks, this toll-free number, 888-601-0032. It's just an awesome, I'm getting like hundreds of calls a day. We're going to play some at the end of the show. Tell us what you think. I want to hear what's on your mind. And here's my question for today. Call us. Keep it pithy. Keep it tight. I can't do minute-long things. Do in 20, 30 seconds, tell me who the dumbest member of Congress is. You think it's Ilhan Omar? You think it's AOC? Is it Jazzy Jasmine Crockett? Just give me the dumbest member in Congress who you think. Keep it tight. Just tell me why and where you're from, and we'll read some of those tomorrow. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes. I was staying on topic, folks, in the massively successful Midnight Hammer raid on the Iranian nuclear facilities that basically, as Pete Hegseth told us, obliterated their ability to make a weapon. We don't want to take away their ability to provide power for their people, which is kind of something we'll talk about with our next guest. Is does the country with the most oil under their sand really need nuclear for their power? I don't think so. However, let's ask a guy who may know. My next guest is the retired CIA Human Intelligence Operations Officer who worked in Russia and Central Asia. He can tell us why U.S. intelligence has for years been very guarded about Iranian nuclear threats. I'm happy to bring Scott Uhlinger with us. Scott, really good to have you, my friend. You have a history of the CIA, you got the background with the Navy and such. Tell us, is Iran still a threat, and how much of a threat is Iran to us, to Israel, to the rest of the world?
I think at this point, the Secretary of Defense's assessment was correct. Their ability has probably been set back years. Now, we do need to find out, and that's why I'm eager to see the actual terms, if there are any, of the ceasefire agreement, because I think it's clear that the United States, or at least the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, part of the UN, needs to be able to get in there and evaluate the battle damage. Have all the centrifuges been destroyed? What about the, quote, missing uranium that was supposedly trucked out of Fordo a day before? I think Israel has some pretty good intelligence on this. And so I think there'll be some coordination as the United States and Israel put together what actual damage has been done to the nuclear program and how set back is the program. Now, I think it's set back extensively. Israel also took out about a dozen of Iran's top nuclear scientists in the past 2 weeks, as well as, my understanding, destroying databases.
We're likely almost eliminated them. They took out some of their most important nuclear scientists and physicists and whatnot, but it never goes away. The question here is, okay, so they don't have the capability to make a bomb right now. I got it. How much capability do they have to incite terror around the region and around the world, specifically the United States?
It is pretty limited, I think, at this point. Remember, Iran has thousands of ballistic missiles, but it only has about half the launchers it had a few days ago. So it's the equivalent of having a lot of bullets, but no pistol to deliver them with. And so Iran's offensive capability is pretty badly damaged. And the destruction of their mostly Chinese anti-air defense it didn't work. Means that
it didn't work.
Air Force can
I mean, if you look at some of the video, we'll show some of the video. First Israel and then the United States had complete autonomy, free reign over the Iranian airspace, which is phenomenal. I think it was brilliant that Trump realized that once we had complete control over we being, I guess you can call it a coalition now, United States and Israel. Once we had complete control over the Iranian airspace, it was a little threat to the American pilots, which was a brilliant move. It was a great move. The question is, what now, though? What now? Let me just take this, because immediately Iran said, we're going to close the Strait of Hormuz. And I kind of chuckled to myself, like, you don't have anything to close the Strait of Hormuz. You can put, bombs in the water, which they did one time before, but Ronald Reagan came in, swept the bombs, and then bombed all of the Navy, completely took out the Iranian Navy. Is this where we are again?
That's right. Right. Operation Praying Mantis in '88, Reagan destroyed half of the Iranian Navy or so. So I think that was never going to be a realistic scenario, closing the straits. We also have to remember that China, being the great friend of Iran, immediately said they were against closing of the Straits of Hormuz, because China uses 80% of Iran's oil exports for its own economy. So
Well, we made him up. And let me add on that. And this is something I did for a long time before I came to television, way before Fox. I was an oil person. I was the head of an oil trading company, and we dealt in these situations with the oil, Middle Eastern oil. China needs oil. They produce almost none of their own oil. They have some coal, but they can't support that massive economy of theirs on just the coal production that they do have. They need global oil. They need Iranian oil. They need Russian oil for that matter. So any sort of oil disruption in the Middle East, certainly, even if it's not going directly to China, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, 20% of the global oil, 20% of all oil produced in the world passes through the Strait of Hormuz, that would jack the price up. And you saw Sunday night after the attacks, at one point it was $77 a barrel for West Texas Intermediate, which is basically the global benchmark for oil. So oil was $13, $14 higher than it is today and would have gone a lot higher had that strait closed. That would hurt, of course, would hurt the United States, but it would really, really crush the Chinese economy. Scott, did I get that about right?
Yes, absolutely. China has only about 90 days of an oil reserve. So they're not like the United States with a strategic petroleum reserve. So they're really over a barrel, if you'll pardon the pun, if that oil flow stops. So right now, actually, in China, there is panic over the entire scenario. China has been basically kicked out of the Middle East now. They've lost Syria, they've lost Iran. Certainly their arms sales are not going to have a good reputation because their weapons have been shown to be almost useless against the Israeli Air Force and the U.S. Air Force. And plus, Trump's very pro-American aggressive policies send a very clear message to China that they shouldn't even think about Taiwan. So I think that this whole campaign heralds, I hope, increased stability in the world as people see that America is not to be trifled with.
In the event this ceasefire doesn't hold, doesn't matter who starts it, who shoots first, who shoots, if it can, the conflict continues kinetically. Are we finished now, or will we jump back in?
I think we're finished. However, the one thing I'm looking at right now is that the Iranian people are obviously very angry at the regime. And so it is possible, if they get through their internet blackout, that the Iranian people will be attempting to rise up against the Iranian government. And so I think the United States and Israel need to be looking for that and be prepared to continue to take out symbols or headquarters of the repressive parts of the government that are used against the people, like the besieged religious police, the IRGC, which is their Waffen-SS. This
is live TV, folks. It's live if this happens. All right, we're just gonna finish up. We're gonna tell Scott Uhlinger thank you very much, Ben. You can tell him thank you. We'll get him on again. We'll bring him back as soon as we can. But again, so the good news, and if I'm going to paraphrase Scott, and I would tend to agree with this, looks like we've done our part, and we hope. And Trump has said to the kids, Israel and Iran, cut it out, quit fighting. It's done. I'm done. I'm the boss here. Did you hear me? Do you understand what I'm saying here? And I think he means business. So I think both sides, if they want to go at it from now, going forward, I would hope it's on them. Because, again, Trump said Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, and he just made sure of that. He did that 36 hours ago. Hey, 2.5 minutes.
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. When I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Whoa! Wow! Mic drop moment, folks. Let's check in with our RAV Chief White House Correspondent Brian Glenn. Brian, that reminded me, as harkened back to, that's my favorite line of Trump in the history of knowing Trump and following Trump, and from the the 10 years before he ran for president, when at Fox News I used to interview him, and during the first, when he said to Hillary Clinton, because you'd be in jail, that was the best moment. And this is the new best moment, especially what he said after the F-bomb. He said, do you understand me? And Brian, he wasn't talking to the reporter. He was talking to the world.
Yeah, he wasn't talking to Rachel Scott of ABC, which I know, and I quickly sent her a text after that to say, hey, that was a pretty good exchange you had there. That was one of my top 3 moments as well, Eric. I think President Trump, and that's coming off previous to that sound bite there. He had made his way down the line there from the very end of the start of the media to where Rachel was standing. So he had to endure a lot of different questions, one of them being critical if these strikes by the B-2 bombers were even effective there in Iran against those nuclear sites. So he had to kind of debunk the fake news, as he likes to say. So by the time he got to Rachel Scott and she asked him the question, well, we all know the answer and what he said. Look, I feel like you and I, Eric, we know Trump fairly well. We've been around him a lot. We understand how he thinks sometimes. He was very, and I'm going to drop the F-bomb here. Get ready, folks. He was very frustrated that he negotiated a ceasefire and a peace between these two countries. And like a UFC fight, when the bell it rings to the end of the round, you stop fighting. You don't keep throwing haymakers. And today, that's exactly what Iran and Israel did after the bell, after the ceasefire, and President Trump did not like it.
Yes, it felt like the Iran and Israel, like two petulant children of his. He was daddy. He's like, knock it off, or else you're both going to get punished. And when Trump punishes you, you don't want to be on the business end of Trump's punishment.
Yeah, you don't. And look, this man wants to go down as a peacemaker. I've asked him that question. I asked him in the Oval Office when Zelensky was there. He wants to go down as a peacemaker. He's very genuine about doing that. And he feels like when the two entities aren't being serious, I'll take Ukraine and Russia as well. That's another example how he's both, had a pretty good tongue lashing to both those leaders and said, look, don't say you want a ceasefire and you want peace, and then an hour later you're dropping haymakers on your opponent. That's not the way it works. So President Trump is at NATO right now. He's participating in a dinner, and they've got one more event tonight before they wrap it up, and then tomorrow a full day of events there in the Netherlands, and he will be back on the South Lawn. He is scheduled to land, Eric, at 6:50 tomorrow night. And at that point, I will be on the South Lawn. So let's see.
Let me ask you this. Brian, I got to go, Brian, but I just make this comment very quick. By the way, nice use of the F-bomb. Frustrated. I love that. Can you imagine this is Joe Biden. Can you just imagine for 1 minute if Joe Biden were the president right now with all that's going on in the world and getting him to NATO and trying to get him. What a disaster. What another bullet we dodged when Trump dodged a bullet in the ear. Brian Glenn, awesome having you. Appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, folks, a question for you. Big question for you, because New York City, used to live there, can't stand it, never want to live there again. But it is, let's call it de facto Democrat city in America. Are we witnessing the final days of New York City?
Supporting Zohran, and we all support Zohran because supporting Zohran is a vote for a New York for all.
That's right, folks, because if AOC says it's good for New York to vote for a communist, then it must be, right? Attention, New York. This could be you. Look at that street right there. What are you looking at? No, it's not a street in Syria, Iraq, or Pakistan. That's London, or as I call it, Londonistan. I'm telling you, the place, they've opened up their gates. It's god awful. It deserves to be called that. It's a city that has lost itself to the wrong choices, decisions, and policies. It's a city that's lost its identity to socialism and mass migration, uncontrolled migration. And that may very well be New York City very soon. According to a new poll, Marxist jihadist Zohran Mamdani is now leading former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Democrat primary for mayor. Today, happening right this very moment, and Mamdani is leading Cuomo. It just got to say, seriously, what are you thinking, New York? I get it. The options aren't exactly spectacular. You got this socialist guy who wants state-run supermarkets, loves terrorists. But on the other hand, and you have to talk about this, you got Andrew Cuomo, who, reminder, resigned as New York governor under threat of impeachment amid accusations that the state covered up COVID deaths in nursing homes. Oh, and that he'd had a serially sexually harassed women, including a female state trooper, on his security detail. How did one New York Post writer put it? Let me guess, killing grannies and pinching fannies. So why should New Yorkers even consider Cuomo as an option? Well, one big reason is his main competitor in today's Democrat primary, 33-year-old Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani, a literal socialist. He doesn't even hide it. He wants to do super cool Karl Marx type things, give a lot of stuff away, like freezing rent for 2 million residents, give it away, make it rain, because paying $5,000 for a one-bedroom apartment apparently isn't enough. Oh, and he also wants to open city-run grocery stores.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. Some stores are even using dynamic pricing, jacking up the cost over the course of a day depending on what they can get away with. It doesn't need to be this way. I'm Zohran Mamdani, and as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option for produce. We will redirect city funds from corporate supermarkets to city-owned grocery stores, whose mission is lower prices, not price gouging. These stores will operate without a profit motive or having to pay property taxes or rent, and will pass on those savings
Isn't that
to
cute?
you.
New York's got its very own Fidel Castro. Control the food, control the people, right? Let's just think, who else sought to federalize the food supply? Oh, yeah, that's right. Joseph Stalin did in Russia right before millions of people starved to death. New York, are you serious with this? What other goodies is Comrade Mamdani promising? Well, he pledges free buses and free childcare beginning at 6. Just give it away. He jacked up taxes on businesses while raising the top income tax in New York City, state, plus local to 16.78%. In the city tax alone, almost 17% just city, not state or federal. Almost 17%. I get it. You New Yorkers don't pay enough in taxes, right, to support the illegal invasion. You want to pay more. Does anyone remember New York in the 70s, the New York that existed before America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani rescued one of the greatest cities in America in 1994, a city of hookers and drugs at the time, and crime and graffiti and fear and disorder? Is that how everyone forgets? Is that how quickly you do forget New York? There's already been a mass exodus from New York since COVID kicked off. This guy makes it. And as mayor, there won't be anyone left to pay taxes in New York City to keep the city afloat, because baby Karl Marx doesn't want more police. Instead, he wants a Department of Community Safety. Oh, to prevent violence before it happens. New York, you're going to need a full army of Daniel Pennies to keep your women and children safe in the subways. And it still won't be enough. Oh, and he's not just a socialist. He's a pro-jihadist, too. He accused Israel of apartheid and recently refused to condemn the slogan, globalize the intifada, which means kill every Israeli. But now I'm seeing that's probably what New Yorkers like most about him. Andrew Cuomo's no angel, just to be clear. Far from it. Cuomo signed a bill that gave the city America's highest income tax already, surpassing anywhere in California. He approved a law in 2019 that ended cash bail for many crimes, which turned jail entrances basically into revolving doors for habitual offenders. But Mamdani, well, he's a real winner too. He wants to abolish ICE. He wants to defund the police. He wants to cancel rent and end eviction. He pushed for New York to cut ties with Israeli companies. He refuses to condemn Hamas. He wants schools to introduce critical theory and Marxist history. He wants to tax the rich at 90%. He wants to abolish prisons. 90%. Why even go to work? At 90%, who are you working? You're working for the government if you go to work and pay 90% in taxes. But hey, guys, what's cool about the Marxist jihadist? Well, apparently he's a rapper.
In 2017, Zohran Mamdani released a rap track that praised 5 convicted Hamas funders known as the Holy Land Five. Now he wants to run New York. Mamdani says, look him up. So we did. These 5 men were convicted of funneling over $12 million to Hamas, a U.S. designated terrorist organization responsible for the murder, rape, and kidnapping of civilians, including Americans.
Well, I guess that shouldn't surprise us at all, right, folks? The city outright supports terrorists. The city outright supports the illegal invasion that's killing America until Trump came in. Well, good night, New York. Good morning, New Yorkistan. New Yorkistan. You're about to find out exactly what you voted for. Back in 2.5 minutes. All right, folks, all the Democrats in America were so ready to throw Donald Trump under the bus over his Operation Midnight Hammer, but a ceasefire seems to have shut them up for a little while at least. Won't last long. All right, Hakeem Jeffries is already flapping his pie hole about that. When the president isn't babysitting our country's liberals, he's setting international disputes, settling them overseas. Trump may have done a great thing for the people of Israel and Iran, but he certainly isn't happy that things had to get out of hand at this point to begin with. Listen to what he said to the folks just a little while this morning.
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you understand that? That was the line. That was the best line of the whole. We talked about it earlier. Trump elaborated on his frustrations, claiming Israel basically unloaded everything they had. Take a listen.
I don't think so, but I'm not happy that Israel's going out now. There was one rocket that I guess was fired overboard. It was after the time limit, and it missed its target. And now Israel's going out. These guys got to calm down. Ridiculous. I didn't like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. But in all fairness, Israel unloaded a lot. And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either.
And again, as soon as Trump said to that reporter, do you understand, that ceasefire started to hold at least. While most people realize the success of Trump's mission by now, the president still addressed the mainstream networks that tried to make Operation Midnight Hammer sound like D-Day. Here's what Trump had to say specifically. This is good, about CNN and MSDNC. Listen.
I think it's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots, did an unbelievable job. And, you know, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all. And frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that.
He just lays out there, CNN is scum, and MSDNC is scum, too. Well, speaking of MSDNC being scum, Morning Joe Scarborough had no choice but to tell the truth about Trump's secret Midnight Hammer mission. He may have sounded like there was a gun pressed against his back, but Morning Joe ultimately gave Trump the credit Trump deserves. Believe it or not, listen.
I said on Thursday or Friday, the president had no good options. What would Monday look like if he hadn't have moved, if Iran wasn't already at 60%? And an ability to create nuclear weapons in a short matter of time, right? I mean, I'm not this morning. I'm not championing either side of this. Although I ask you, David, how difficult would it have been for any president to not take that shot?
Spit it out, Joe. He did a good job. You can say it. I'll tell you what, when Barack Obama took out Osama bin Laden in the middle of the night, we all cheered him. You can do it, Joe. Morning Joe might have been able to kind of swallow his dignity a little bit and give Trump just a touch of credit for the successful mission. But the ladies on The View couldn't bring themselves to do the same. Sunny Hostin, in particular, tried to call Trump's strike unconstitutional. Listen to this BS.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have called into question the constitutionality of Donald Trump's actions. He bypassed Congress, potentially violated the War Powers Resolution. I believe this is certainly a clear violation of international law, at the very least. Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries accused the president of misleading the country as to his intentions. What do you think are the possible ramifications that President Trump could face for arguably overstepping his authority?
Well, look, constitutionally, only Congress has the power to declare war. The War Powers Act would make it seem very clear you need to have congressional approval on this. But president after president after president has launched military action without the approval of Congress.
Yeah.
And Congress, under Democratic and Republican leadership, has complained the president is violating the War Powers
They're
Act.
just really, really looking for the hair in the egg, so to speak. I mean, like I just said, Barack Obama, many presidents have done this. Stop it. Stop it, Sonny. Caitlin Collins, CNN, went on an entire rant about how Trump overstepped. She was halfway through a fear-mongering episode when Anderson Cooper, of all people, interrupted her and crushed her entire narrative in real time on live TV, on CNN. Believe it or not, worth watching.
But that is the question here, is if the United States felt that it did not need to respond to the Iranian retaliation, did that create the space for this? That is what we've been hearing from administration officials. And so the question is whether or not this still holds for the next few hours.
Caitlin, I just been given word that Iran, according to a diplomat who briefed CNN, Iran has agreed to the ceasefire. So this is significant. I just want to try to learn some more information as soon as we get it about that. But if that is the case, that's incredibly significant because that is, we were waiting. We had not heard from Iran. We had not heard from Israel. All we were going on so far has been the president's social media post, which was some 2 hours ago. So again, that is the first indication we have that Iran has agreed to this.
Caitlin, your whole narrative just got blown out of the water by your colleague, Anderson Cooper. And thank you, Anderson, for being honest for once about this. The bottom-feeding, social media-obsessed liberals have gone off the walls over this Iran strike. First of all, you can tell that none of these influencers took 5 minutes to go online and actually read about what Trump did. They just heard the words bomb, Trump, and Iran in the same sentence, decided to give foreign policy advice in their little TikTok worlds. Take a look at this one, a real genius Los Angeles woman. Los Angeles is in California.
Dear Elon, this is my official application of states that you should wipe out because we did not vote for that orange Cheeto man over here in Los Angeles. Alabama.
Out of here.
Florida.
Out of here.
Arkansas.
Boom.
Oklahoma.
Get them gone.
Ohio.
No.
Kansas.
Gone.
Kentucky.
No.
Arkansas.
Red.
Tennessee.
Fire.
Texas.
Oh, double it.
Let me get my best friend out and then Texas. Okay, and my family and then Texas. Anyways, I hope you consider this application and really take it into consideration.
Out of here.
Well, may I suggest, Trump, you start with California, but let's get the 3 or 4, maybe 5 conservatives out of California before you do that. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. And when I say Trump, I mean allow Iran to do what they want to do in California. Just kidding, folks. Relax. All right, before we head to breaks, I want to remind you about my podcast, YouTube page, both updated daily. You can hear this show, hear any of the interviews on the show, hear the rapid reactions, whatever. But you also see a lot of other stuff that we put up. Subscribe now. Any one of those spots, it's always going to be free. Plus, this is a new thing we're doing. I get literally hundreds of calls a day now. Hundreds. And I listen to every one of them. Guys will tell you in the control room, Ben, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Do I listen to all these calls? Do we listen to them in there together sometimes?
Listen to all the calls.
I listen to every one of these calls. Do me a favor. So the call today, I want to know who you think the dumbest member of Congress is. The dumbest member of Congress, is it Hakeem Jeffries, the leader, the minority leader? Is it AOC making stupid comments when the planes are flying, she's trashing Trump? I think that is grounds for censorship. Is it Jazzy Jasmine Crockett, who can't keep her foot out of her mouth? Is it Ilhan Omar, who'd rather be in Somalia than here? Who's the dumbest member of Congress? Why? Keep it tight. Give me 20, 30 seconds. You might be on TV and make it interesting. And we have a bunch of them coming up right after the break. All right, folks, It's my favorite segment. It's either Bannon with the Bannon banter, which I adore. You know, we love that. It's great. Great information comes out of that. Or this, which I love almost as much. This is a voicemail. These are your voicemails. Again, keep them tight. Keep them, 20, 30 seconds. Let me know where you're from and why you believe what you believe. But today's question for tomorrow, not for these voicemails, but for tomorrow will be, who's the dumbest member of Congress? So call me, 888-601-0032, toll free always. Let's do, Ben, give me a couple, let's start. What do we have first?
It looks like we have someone who is very excited with the success of Operation Midnight.
Run it.
Eric, I think you're great, and I think Trump should just bomb the hell out of these people.
There you go. Short and sweet. Got it. Think you're great. Okay, next one, Benny. What is this?
I believe this is a musical number of the same type.
Hi, my name's Sue, and I would also like to reiterate Steve Dahl's parody of Bob Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran, bomb, Iran. And Ayatollah. Because I grew up through all that stuff in the 70s, and we should have wiped them off the map then.
There you go.
Bye.
And that, what she was referring to, Steve Dahl, it's a local radio guy in Chicago, by the way, who used to do parody songs and bomb, 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 Iran, and also the Ayatollah to the song My Sharona. Remember that song, this 80s song, My Sharona? Very good. That was a great one. Got to get that one in there always. All right, Benny, next up, what do we have?
We got a message from Rob from Vegas.
Okay, hold up. Just talk a little. A message from Rob from Vegas. Now, what I do is I listen to all these voicemails and I grab some and I send them over. And sometimes my little message from Rob in Vegas, I have no idea. I can't remember what this one was. So play it, Ben.
Hey, Eric, this is Rob Brackett from Las Vegas, Nevada. Love your show, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. Hey, a couple questions. Number one, why aren't we charging people with treason? I mean, what the Joe Biden regime did was just absolute treason. I mean, we need to start holding people accountable. And the other thing is not a question, but, man, if you see something, say something. We need to get back to that situation. We got a lot of people that don't like us here in the interior of America. And I'm telling you, all the citizens need to remain vigilant. And like I said, if you see something, report it, say something.
That's a great
Keep
comment.
up the good work, brother. Love you, Eric.
Thank you. That was a great comment. Two things. Number one, why don't we charge these people with treason? I would say Obama could be charged with treason for sending $150 billion back to Iran, right? And then Biden could be charged with treason for sending $6 billion to Iran a couple of months before they wiped out 1,400 innocent Israelis at that music festival. And maybe even Alejandro Mayorkas should be charged with treason for letting, 10, 12 million illegals across the border in 4 years, saying everything's fine, the border is intact. Treason, treason, treason. And the other one, see something, say something. Great idea. Benny, what do we got next?
We have a viewer who is happy with this segment.
Thank you, Mr. Bolling. Appreciate it. Thanks for letting me talk to you because I just wanted to say that, I agree with everything you're doing. You let us people talk to you.
That's what I really like about this. I put this together years ago and I've never really used it to this extent, but I'll tell you, when I put this up and say, call me, I get hundreds of you people calling in. And again, it's hard to listen to them all. They're great, but hear your voice. And we want to tell people, we want to let you guys know what you guys are thinking. So you just don't think it's just our voices here. It's you too. Go ahead, Benny. What's next?
I believe it's a pretty similar one.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Eric, I appreciate you letting us call you because, you're one of the only people where the Americans can tell what we think. And thank you for doing what you're doing, man. You give us a bridge to talk to our fellow Americans, and there's no other way. You're the greatest, but I think you should be up there with helping President Trump, man. You make a great team with him. I mean, y'all tell people what's going on, and I appreciate that, and I know the rest of the country does. We love you guys, man. You're heroes to us.
All right, we love you too. I love you too. That was a very nice comment. Thank you very much. Regarding Trump, the request was in 2016. Stephen K. Bannon and Reince Priebus brought me over to the Trump Tower to talk about becoming Secretary of Commerce for them. And at the time I was at Fox. I just couldn't do it. I support him every which way I possibly can. Benny, how many left and what do we have?
We have 4 more. Right now we have Cash Money from Cincinnati
Go.
with another musical number.
Go.
EB, great show. This is Cash Money from Cincinnati. I'd like to sing one. Treason, nothing more than treason. For all ungodly reason, it's time to shut them down.
All right, so I like the songs. You can tell you're a good singer. Go ahead, even if you're not the greatest singer in the world. I don't even know what that song. Ben, let's just play another one. Go.
Hey, Eric Bolling. This is Joyce Freeland. We wanted to comment on what President Trump has just done in Iran, and we are 100% behind our president. We're following his plans, and he's doing a great job. And we're so glad to see you over here on Real America's Voice. Have a great day.
Let's do it. Let's do another one. Thank you. Do another one quick.
Hey, Eric, I was so excited. This is Hippie Diva. When you came from the dark side to the palace of hope and light. You and Steve Bannon loved the banter. 2 ballers trying to outdo each other. Love it. What a great intro. Keep up the good job. So glad you're with Real America's Voice.
Squeeze in. Go quick.
Eric, how you doing? Jim Singer out here in Porterville, California. Watching you. You're great. With Steve Bannon, I love him too. You guys are great when you do that 10 minutes together before he goes on. I love that where you both guys go back and forth. So keep up the good work. America first. And God bless you guys. And go Rav.
There you go. Go Ravs, go Bannon. Bannon's up next, War Room. And tell Bannon, let's do these tosses more often. I love you guys. See you again tomorrow.